All right. Hello. Welcome to Thrive Thursday. Today we have our lovely member, Lori Osborne, owner of bizbolster.com. And Lori does websites, she does SEO, manages your reviews. And Lori's worked with a lot of the members here at Leap, including me. She's currently helping me with my website and SEO and reviews. So today, Lori's going to be presenting about fresh websites. So go ahead.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. I am so glad to be here. Am I on speaker view here? I'm trying to see myself. Sorry. Okay.
You are for me.
Awesome. Okay. It's so great to be here today and to tell you all about the power of having a fresh website. So let me share my screen. Righty. So again, I am Lori Osborne. I am the founder and chief solution architect for BizBolster Web Solutions. And we're going to talk about the power of a fresh website. So this workshop, presentation, whatever you want to call it, is for any small business owner, solopreneur, or anyone working for a small business or a nonprofit, I should say there. It's also if you do not currently have a website or you need a website or you don't love your website. You know you have one, but it's not working for you. This is definitely for you. Or if you just want to better understand how your website can attract more clients. What things do you need to do to improve on your website? And these are things, a lot of things you can do if you have access to update your website. And then again, if you just want more business, this is for you. So stick around. So I said fresh website. What is fresh? Fresh is fast, reliable, easy to manage, SEO ready, and human connecting. Basically, the things that I feel differentiate how I handle websites. And we're going to get into the depth of this, of how this can help you. But first, I would love to tell you a little bit about myself, if that's okay. This is a picture of my lovely family, my fur babies, and my dear husband, Robert, who is the love of my life. I have been in technology for over 30 years. I started as a data management. I went into technical recruiting. I have done software management, software testing, web development, development of corporate websites, and project management. And I owned a recruiting business for 7 years. So, having this business and that business, I have been a business owner for over 15 years. So, I really understand the challenges that small business owners have, especially with technology. And the reason I got into this, in case you're curious, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor in 2015, and it really just kind of stopped me in my tracks and got me out of the corporate world. I found out it really couldn't be removed. It's part of my carotid artery, but they did do surgery to get it off my optical nerve. Long story short, I realized I was not going to be able to go back to the corporate world. Honestly, I wasn't sure if I was going to even work again. So, in that time of healing and trying to figure out what to do next, I was literally trying everything under the sun that I thought I could do to just stay busy and productive. And in that, I discovered that, there's some pretty cool tools out there now that are fairly easy for people that aren't coders. And though I could probably learn how to code, that is not something I want to do, but I love developing websites. I discovered my passion. I get to do both. My words aren't coming to me. Forgive me. I get to combine my technical talents and my creative talents into one and create amazing functional websites. So in all of that, I tell people I'm grateful for this tumor because it really helped me find my passion and what I should be doing for the rest of my life. So that's why I do what I do. And I just wanted to share that with you so you just know a little bit more about me. So let's talk some more about websites. first, why do you need a website? I am asked that all the time. I hear people talking about it all the time. I honestly cringe a little bit when people say that you don't need a website. If you have a business, you need a website because people expect it. If they hear about your business, if you're talking about your business, if someone else is talking about your business, the first thing they're going to do is go online to see your website and learn about you and what you do. They're not going to go to Facebook. They're not going to go to Instagram. They're going to look for your website. That demonstrates that you really are a business. The other thing is you don't own your data on social media. You can collect all the likes and follows and everything under the sun. You can get groups, you can do all of that, and you can lose it in a heartbeat. I've seen it. It's heartbreaking when it happens. So you really want to have your website collect that information because then it's yours and it's not going to be ever taken from you. The other thing is 99.5% of shoppers purchase online at least sometimes, and 87% do regularly or always. And that is from a study in April 2023. So, why do you need a fresh website? I feel like I skipped a slide here. Oh, okay. Well, I think it's going to come up in the wrong order. So, we'll see it shortly. Sorry about that. So what is fresh? We talked about it is fast, it is reliable, easy to manage, SEO friendly or SEO ready, and human connecting. So let's kind of just break that down into each of these areas. So fast. Why do you need a fast website? Two reasons. If your website is slow, you will lose people's attention. You have about 3 seconds. Some people even say 1 or 2 seconds to catch someone's attention and not lose them. Anything more than that, if your page is still loading and they're not seeing anything or they're getting bits and pieces, you're going to lose their attention. And it's worse now than it's ever been. We all know that. We are so technology driven anymore. Our attention span is just like that. So it's got to be fast. The other reason is SEO. This is how I define SEO, search engine optimization. Really, what is SEO? It's whatever Google says it is, because 97% or so of us use Google for our search engine. So Google really drives SEO. Google wants your website to be fast. Why do they want your website to be fast? Because they know that those people are going to lose attention if it's more than 3 seconds. And it's funny, when you build SEO, you ask, well, what does Google want? What are Google's rules? 90% of Google's rules are all about people interacting with websites. Their rules are around what works for people. I'm going to just throw an example here just out of the blue. A great example of this is pop-ups. Google does not like pop-ups on your website. Why? Because people hate pop-ups. That's the whole reason. It blocks the data and they can't see it. They're in the middle of doing something, reading what you've got, and boop, here comes this pop-up that's distracting. Google doesn't like that because people don't like that. So SEO is all about making Google happy, and you want your website fast because that's what people want. I really put this first and I bring it up because one thing you will also find if you work with me is I typically do not support WordPress. I don't support WordPress because I don't think it is the best platform for small business owners. It's typically slow because most small business owners don't understand that you really have to invest a lot of money to get solid hosting with speed, generally $50 a month. A lot of people are on these like $3 to $10 a month plans, which end up with the websites being extremely slow. When I supported WordPress, I constantly had speed issues. And the other problem is they go down a lot. They go down a lot because there's plugins involved. And when you start dealing with plugins, that also means updates. And if you don't do the updates, the sites can go down. They can be hacked. There's a lot of issues. So, in a short story, that's why I don't support WordPress. So, the next one is reliable. Why do you need a reliable site? Well, that's kind of understandable. If the website's not there, people aren't going to see it. So ask yourself, does your website ever go down? What do you do if it goes down? Do you fix it? Do you call someone? Do you pay someone? How do you handle that if your website goes down? And believe me, I've heard many, many times over the last few months of websites going down. Does it ever act quirky? Is it sometimes slow, sometimes fast, sometimes things load, sometimes they don't? All of that comes into it being reliable. You can even run into things like videos not loading properly because maybe they weren't put on your website properly, or images not loading because they're far too large. These are all the kinds of things that I'm looking at and addressing when I'm dealing with a website and what you want from your website. You want it to be fast and reliable. So the next one is easy to manage. Are you able to update your own website? In my opinion, every business owner, they don't have to. If you can pay someone and you don't want to do it, that is awesome. That is fantastic. I love that, obviously, in my business. But I feel like, and in my clients, people want to be able to update if they can. They might want to just add a picture. They might want to change some text. They might see something and go, I don't want to pay someone to fix that if I could just go in and fix it in 5 minutes. I had a client tell me that just last week. I went in and changed out a picture. I was so excited that I could do that. I think that's important that you can manage and update your own website. Do you have plugins? Are you on WordPress? Do you have to worry about your plugins and maintaining those plugins? Do you have to pay someone to update and maintain those plugins? All of that comes into being easy to manage. And it's important that it's not, your website should not be a distraction and a frustration. It should just be built and run. You should be able to just run it and not have to think about it anymore other than keeping it fresh and updated. The other one is SEO ready. So again, was your website built with Google SEO rules in mind? Unfortunately, not every web developer knows about how to make a website SEO ready. There's a whole set of rules on the back end that we have to consider to make sure it's SEO ready. So some things to think about. Do you have alt text on all of your images? Do you have page headers? The page headers in the SEO section are what is seen on the Google display. So it's super important that that is accurate. Also, do you have page descriptions? Those tie into that. How long these things are also impacts that. What about heading orders? This is the thing I see more than anything under the sun. And honestly, before I really knew about SEO, I did the same thing. I'll admit it. There are a lot of platforms where you could choose a heading size based or a heading based on size or color versus the type of heading. Headings are supposed to be in a specific order per Google, and it makes sense. They want a heading 1 on every single page at the top. This is what this page is about. Then what would come under that is a heading 2 that is a summary or a next level, like a table of contents of your heading 1. And then your heading 3 would come under your heading 2 as a subtopic. And then your next topic is another heading 2 with a heading 3 and so forth. So it's not about color and size. And there are some platforms that you're limited on that. So keep that in mind. And if you don't know, ask your web developer if you don't have access. How are my headings? Can I see how my headings are? Because that is very important. Google expects a heading 1 on every single page and only one heading 1 on every single page. And then again, your heading 2s, 3s, etc. The other thing is frequently asked questions. Do you ever ask questions of Google? I bet you do. I don't. I know I do every day, at least once a day. Well, where do those answers come from? Well, currently or recently, Google added some AI that kind of helps answer those questions right at the top. But under that, where it used to be and still is under that, when you ask a question, the answers come from websites. So if you have easy to follow information that makes sense in your FAQs, there is a chance if they're generic enough that someone would ask and they make sense that someone would ask, your answers could come up and be a reference to your website. Even if that never happened, it's such a great resource for those coming to your website to learn about you and what you do. Now, I recommend on your FAQs that it's a mixture of specific knowledge about you and your site and how you do things, but also generic. Think about what would someone ask if they were looking for someone like me. So mine's really easy. If someone said, how do I have a website built? Or who do I contact about a website? Or they just say, I want to know more about websites. Any of those, kind of questions. Or what is SEO? How do I improve my SEO? Those are the kinds of things I have answered on my website. And then the next great thing, just a little tip, is to extend that to your Google business profile so that Google sees it repeatedly. So your FAQs you want to have as well. And then the other thing is, are your do you have solid keywords and are they built into your content? So that would be your blogs, your summaries. Now, not just throwing keywords here or there. When you talk about your business and you talk about what you do, you should naturally include keywords. And how do you know what keywords work? There are some keyword tools within Google. You can also look at your analytics and see what people have typed in the past to find you. But a lot of times it's just logic. I mean, what mine, websites, SEO, um, I could just list forever, honestly. Um, it's pretty easy around your business. And if you want some additional information on that, set up a call and we'll talk about it. Now, the final one is human connecting. I am a huge believer that people do business with people they know, like, and trust. So, how do you build know, like, and trust? The first thing I always tell people is unless you are selling something that is of a lower value, like less than $100, people are not generally going to go to your website and buy. Your website is a communication and relationship tool more than a sales tool. What you do after is what leads to the sales. So you're starting with thinking, how do I build know, like, and trust? That's what I mean by human connecting. You want your website to connect with your prospects. So first you have to understand who are your prospects. That's number one in marketing. Who is my audience? How, what do they do? How old are they? What kind of language do they use? How can I speak to their needs? How do I speak to their pain points? All of this comes into that know, like, and trust. The other thing is having an opt in or a freebie. So, this is where you first obviously collect emails because you want someone to enter an email to get that information. But secondly, it's an extension of that know, like, and trust. If you do it right, you're providing someone, your prospect, you're providing them something that they would be willing to pay for because it solves a problem or gives them information on how to solve a problem they have. By doing that, you are demonstrating your knowledge and helping to build that know. So it's so important that one, you have it, and two, that it will help them. So I always tell people a discovery call is not a freebie. It's a great thing to have. We should all have them, but it is not a freebie because it can be perceived as a sales call. And a newsletter is not a freebie. We all have newsletters. Frankly, I don't even think I have a sign up on my website for a newsletter because everybody has it. And my email, if I don't know if mine's like yours, but my email is full of newsletters every day. So it's not really a good sales point anymore. So really you want to give them something of value. The other thing is your about. You really want your about to be truly about you because you want them to get to know you. So that doesn't mean your 500 letters after your last name for every certification and degree and everything else you have under the sun. It means, who are you? What are your values? How do you operate? How did you get to where you are? What do you know and do that's going to help me, your prospect? And I always encourage people to also give some personal information. Put some personal pictures on there, your family, your pets, your life, so that people can get to know you, just like you would on your social media. But you just kind of do a little miniature of it on your website. And here in a second, I'm going to show you an example of what I have on mine. The other thing is videos. Videos are so wonderful because it's just like this here. If you just went to my website and I didn't have a video and you saw me, that's great. You see my picture, you get to learn a little bit about me. But interacting through videos, remember, communication is 85% body language. So with a video, they hear your voice, they see your body language, they hear your passion, they get to know you and like you if you do it in a way that is friendly and inviting. So I strongly encourage you to have at least one video on your website. Now, if you do things like this, if you do presentations, if you do any kind of leading of meetings that are recorded, I also encourage you to have a media section on your website so that there are all kinds of different things that they can see you and hear you. I actually just put one on my website a few days ago, and it was at a TV station. So I was super excited about it. But I did it back in March. So I was really slow in doing it. But for the first time ever, I added it to my personal social media. I usually only do professional. And I was shocked at all of the responses I got on my personal social media because a lot of people don't know what I do. They really don't know what my business is. And it was kind of fun to get that feedback and go, yeah, people love videos. I could not believe how many people watched the whole 8 minutes. It was pretty incredible. So think about the power of that. The same thing on your website. And then blogs. Blogs are another way that you can provide valuable information, provide feedback, give people what they need in a place that's also keyword rich. Because if you're talking about anything you do in generally you want a blog to be approximately 1,200 to 1,500 words, it's a lot of keywords in there and a lot of places for people to go. And if you regularly blog, they will regularly come back to your website and continue to build that relationship. So this is an example. This is my about page. Now, I love to write and I love words. So you don't have to write as much as I have. I might lose some people with how much I write, but I really like to share about how I got to where I am, why I do what I do, and my values. And then I include my certifications. And then I even go into, I've got a little bit here about my past health history and then my family. So people can go out there and go, oh, wow, okay, she loves the beach. She obviously loves her babies, her fur babies, and just, my husband, just to get a feel for who I am. And you'll notice that on this same page, I've got my media features and I've got my partners and clients because I think as a web developer, it's just as important to promote my partners and clients and provide them with backlinks to a great website as it is anything else that I do. So I try to include that there so that people can easily find that. So some other considerations when building your website. First, you need to determine if you're going to use a professional or not. Consider your skill level and the time involved in if you can build a solid, fresh website that's going to truly represent you. And that really varies from person to person. And you really have to ask, do I have the time? Do I have more time or I have more money? Because if you have the time but you don't have the money, then you probably want to build it yourself. Or get the money and have someone else do it. Remember, you can always finance stuff these days as well. Use a platform you can update yourself and has all the options you need. I use Duda personally. Wix is another option. Squarespace, I worry about their SEO and some other things, but it is an option. Basically, anything that is not WordPress is what I recommend for small businesses and nonprofits. Make sure your call to action is very clear. Mine is a button that says let's chat or book a discovery call. because that's the next step I want them to take. I'm not expecting anyone to purchase anything when they go to my website. I honestly don't think you can purchase anything anymore when you go to my website. No, you can schedule a web review. That's about all you can do. And it's a paid thing. But you want them to take the next step, and that's your call to action. Do this, whatever X is. Make sure you have the opt-in that's not a pop-up. Keep your look consistent, user-friendly, and brand-friendly. Brand consistent. You want to make sure you use the same font throughout your website, no more than 2. You want to use the same colors throughout your website. Try to keep that to 3 to 5. 3 is your primary. And have it align with the rest of your brand. You'll notice here in this background on my slides, that background is used on everything I do. It was what was used to develop my logo. So it's right in line with my logo. It's on everything that I do. Anyone that sees that look is going to know it's me, and it's all over my website. So that's the consistency across your social media, across everything you do. It should all be consistent in that brand look. And then, as I said earlier, know your client and know their language. You most likely do not serve everyone. I think there's a soap company that says we sell to anyone with skin, but there's not very many of us that can really attract clients of all kinds, nor do we want to. You really want to attract the clients that are your ideal client. That's what you want to focus on. Sorry, I got to check the time, make sure I'm not going too crazy here. So these are some of the things that can go on your website or be part of your website to consider. You can do online scheduling. You can use a tools within the platform or things like Calendly or Acuity. You can have training courses within your website or tied to your website. You can have membership. You can have CRM and email automation. You can have events. You can have e-commerce. There are many, many things that you can do on your website or integrate directly with your website that all work together so that your website is literally the hub of your business. So let's talk a little bit more about SEO. Most people have heard of it. A lot of people don't understand it. It is honestly the most complicated thing that I do. The hardest thing to really show traction on, but one of the most important things that I do. If you have a website, but you don't have any SEO, it's basically like a storefront with no signage. If you don't tell anyone your store is there, no one's going to come. That's what SEO is. Just because you have a domain name and your site is live on the web does not mean it's going to be found. There are millions of websites out there. So you've got to do the steps to get people to you to find your website. SEO can reduce the cost of customer acquisition by over 87% on average. And 70% of marketers see SEO as more effective than pay-per-click advertising. So if you're paying for Google ads or even Facebook ads or any advertising, you could spend just as much on SEO and be far more productive. Some other relevant stats to consider. More than 80% of people regularly use search engines to find products and services. Now, something else to consider here. Most of the time, when you're going to Google for a product or service, you are pretty much ready to buy. That means when they are coming to you, so tie that into your Google business profile. If you have one and it comes up, so think about this from a local perspective as well. Let's say someone locally is trying to find you. Your Google business profile comes up. You should have posts there on your Google business profile with specific calls to action. That is the only social media that you want to have sales posts, sales oriented posts. Whereas the other social media, you don't want everything to be sales, but it can be on your Google business profile because people going to Google are ready to buy. The first 5 organic results in any search account for over 67% of the clicks. Now, I'm going to go back to that local SEO. It is far easier to do local SEO and focus on your local SEO than it is national, especially if you're in a field that there are a lot of other people in. So I say to start local. If you start with that Google business profile and you build that and you optimize that, I can almost guarantee that you will come up first in that list. There's a 3-pack list that comes up with the Google Maps. Google business profile ties to Google Maps. That 3-pack is easy to hit number 1 on if you're doing all the right things for SEO. And that should be your first goal with any SEO activity. The number 1 organic result is 10 times more likely to receive a click compared to anyone in the number 10 spot. And 75% of people never scroll past that first page of search engine results. So you may not be at the top, but you need to at least be on that first page. So showing up on top when searches is done, again, is important. The other thing to keep in mind is SEO can't be bought. You cannot write Google a check for $50,000 and say, put me on top. Google doesn't control it. Their algorithms control SEO. Google experts within Google have to make their own sites Google or SEO ready to show up first. So it's not something like you can buy ads and you can sponsor ads and be on top, but not everybody wants to buy from people with sponsored ads. They want organic results. So the only way to do it is to do SEO right. Another thing I want to share, I hear this all the time when I talk about WordPress being a problem. Well, I heard that WordPress gets better SEO than anybody else. I'm going to show you the slide so that you see these are real clients that I have worked with on these different platforms. And if you notice, they're almost all 62%, ironically. I don't know how that happened. But you notice WordPress is also 62%. The lowest one is Squarespace. I said I worry about SEO with Squarespace. There's a lot of things we cannot control on Squarespace. On Duda, Kajabi, Wix, all of these, they're all about the same. So it doesn't matter the platform, honestly, unless I know that there's a platform that literally has some issues. Again, I know there are some issues with Squarespace. There's a lot of issues with a lot of these all-in-one, where you get everything in one platforms. I worry about those. But you don't have to go to WordPress just because it has the best SEO. Honestly, my WordPress SEO clients, when I supported WordPress, started at the worst SEO generally, and mostly because of the speed issues. Next. So Google Tools. This is important as well. I've talked about Google Business Profile a lot. It's really important to have it set up if you do business locally at all. If you do any business locally, you should have a Google Business Profile. That's where you have your address if you want it. If you work from home and you don't want it, you can hide it once you're verified. It gives all of your business information. It gives pictures if you add them. It provides that opportunity for figuring out your keywords. That's where your reviews go, which is very critical. And it gives you the opportunity to regularly post about your business. This is an example of what I was talking about with the 3-pack and with the Google Maps. So I almost always come up first for SEO and web design or websites in my area. And this is where I'm saying you want your goal to be. I work from home. I don't have my address published, and I still come up first because I've done the other work and I've really optimized my Google business profile. You also want to make sure your Google Analytics are set up and tied to your website. And Google Search Console. That is the thing that is probably the most neglected for new websites. What that does is it ties your website directly with Google and gives Google direct access to your sitemap, which is the back end when you look at it, it just looks like a list of your pages. It's nothing exciting, but Google knows what to do with that. And it tells Google what pages are live on your site. And when you have a page that you are hiding for some reason, like your landing pages and the things that you don't want people to directly go to from your navigation, those you want to set to no index within your website management. Because if people can't see it, you don't want Google to see it because that is the thing that counts against you. And that's the type of thing that's picked up through this search console. It also indexes your website, which is why you set it to no index. It goes through and crawls your website. It knows everything that's there, and it does that on a regular basis. It will tell you if something's wrong, if something's not working, if something's not set up properly. It's going to send you errors. And unfortunately, it's not for every error under the sun, but the key things, it's going to tell you when it's not working. And you will get a summary of how things are working. So it's really important that you set this up so that Google knows. I look at it like this. I think of the web as a filing cabinet, and all of our websites are files in that filing cabinet. And indexing allows Google algorithms to directly go to your file in that filing cabinet when the searches come up that are directly related to you and your business. Did I go the wrong direction? Probably. Okay. So these are just a summary of the key things. And most of these, I think actually all of these, come directly from the Google rules that were actually posted back in 2021. They don't always release what's important to them, but they did a major change in their SEO back then and actually published these are the things you need to do or not do on your website. Current, relevant, keyword rich content. Relevant is really important. If your website is stagnant and never updated and nothing ever changes, it will reduce your SEO and reduce the amount of time or amount of opportunity for it to come up in searches. Needs to be user friendly, including mobile optimization. So you need to make sure that it looks exactly the way it should look on mobile. Current positive reviews. That is very important. That tells Google that you're in business and you're staying in business and people like you. That's also social proof. This is how I look at reviews. I can tell you all day long that I am fantastic. I am great. You need to hire me today. But if I have 20 other people, especially people that you know, like, and trust, tell you that I'm wonderful, you're going to be more likely to use me. Backlinks. So that is someone else connecting to your website or you connecting to someone else's. That's a backlink. You want other people to have your links to your website on their website, especially high profile, productive companies. Honestly, I've heard recently that the best link you can have, which makes sense, is from Amazon. And how do you do that? Let's say you are in a book, a collaboration book, which, by the way, Art of Connection that I have back here, I strongly encourage getting involved in that. That you get in a book and then you set up an author profile on Amazon, and then you put that link on your website and you have a backlink. You are on Amazon and you are linking that. And LinkedIn is another one. LinkedIn has incredibly great SEO. A lot of times, if you type in your name, you will see your LinkedIn before you see your website. The website speed, which we talked about, and security. You've got to have your SSL certificate and be an HTTPS that will work against you in so many ways. There are many, many companies out there that lock down people even being able to access a website that is not secure. And then eliminate those pop-ups. Okay, I have no idea what happened here. Sorry about that. I'm just going to go past this. We talked about the power of reviews. This is what happens when you mess with your presentation the day you're doing it. Sorry about that. Power of reviews. This was from a study from April of 2023, and it was a survey of over 8,000 US consumers. 77% of consumers say they seek out websites with ratings and reviews. 91% seek reviews on retail websites, 70% on search engines, and 68% directly on websites. 98% say reviews are essential when making a purchasing decision. 45% won't even purchase a product if there are no reviews. 99.75% of online shoppers read reviews at least sometimes. 91% do so always or regularly. I am absolutely one of those 99.75, and I imagine a lot of you are as well, considering it's 99.75. So how do you get reviews? You ask for them. One of the hardest things to do. I know so many people that go, "Oh, I'm so uncomfortable asking for feedback. I hate it." So if you really, really can't do it, you just cannot bring yourself to ask for a review, then I strongly encourage having a reputation management program that is an automated system that goes out and asks for reviews for you. And if it's a really good system, it also puts those reviews directly on your website. And I'm going to do a little promo here. I do sell a reputation management program that I'm very proud of because it is very, very SEO friendly. So if you feel like you can't get reviews and you can't ask for reviews, let's chat. We talked about SSL and security. It's that HTTPS is how you know if you have good SSL. All right. So that is it for the main information, though I do have a little bit more to share with you. I don't know, Whitney, do you have any questions?
Yeah, first of all, I'm so glad and excited that I have you helping me because a lot of this stuff, it's like, oh my gosh, like on top of everything else I'm already doing, there's no way that I would want to be responsible for all of that. I was going to ask you, what do you recommend if not WordPress, but you got into that Wix and some of the others. When you talk about local versus national with the Google Business Profile, can you choose an area that's not your area? Like if I'm in a small town, or are you talking about just the local area you're in versus?
What I understand from Google Partners is you want to specify every area within a 2-hour drive of where you are. So for mine, I pick every single town within 2 hours of me, even the teeny tiny little towns within 2 hours. What you do not want to do is put United States and only United States. That will hurt you greatly. Google has made a lot of changes to their requirements in Google Business Profile, and Whitney can absolutely attest to that because she had so much fun getting her set up. But they're very particular now. And one of the things they will look at is, are you saying that you only work online and you work only national? They will not approve your profile if that's the case.
Yes. Yeah, I did have a struggle verifying my home business, but finally it went through. Yay.
Yes, yes.
Um, all right. And then as far as social media, YouTube is the best for search engine optimization, I would think, right? Can you
Yes.
tell
Since
more about
YouTube is
that?
owned by Google, and because especially the younger generation is so video driven, absolutely, you want to do as much as you can on YouTube, share on YouTube. I encourage people to post their videos on YouTube and then link to those on their website. You never want to upload to your website. Some people don't like to link to YouTube because of the ads for the next things that come up,
Yeah.
but from an SEO perspective, it is much more powerful to go that route.
Okay. That was all the questions I had. I think that was great.
All
Really
right. Well, let
great.
me just share a couple other things just really quick. I know we're almost at the top of the hour.
Yes.
Um, for next steps, if you don't already have a website, consider your options. Think about the things I've said here. If you do have a website, start adding those elements that might be missing and implement what you can on the SEO. So free stuff and specials. If you're really, really lost, I threw a lot of stuff at you in a very short amount of time. I am offering you all 2 free 90 minutes of video training. These are presentations that I gave that are each 90 minutes on websites and 90 minutes on SEO. And you will learn a lot and a lot more detail. You'll see some repetition of what I just talked about, but a lot more detail that I go into. And then if you prefer in writing or you prefer to read over watching videos, you can also download my guide to how to shine online, website and SEO secrets to showing up. All you have to do is go to this link and you will have access to all of the above. And then if you have any questions, if you need any help with website or SEO or reputation management, or you just want to pick my brain, then set up a discovery call at this link. And that is my website. We are good. Thank you so much for watching and being here today. And I look forward to visiting with you on a discovery call.
Thanks, Lori.